What up, sports fans and fellow foodies? I'm Julie, and welcome to my kitchen, where each week I talk sports while whipping up culinary creations. This weekend, I was fortunate enough to be out at Sox Park for Ozzie Day. They went ahead and raised his jersey number to the rafters. He is in between Aparicio and Canerco, good old number 13, to never be worn again by anyone in the Sox organization, as Ozzie got quite a tribute night on Saturday, and I got quite a jersey out of it. Nice job, White Sox. These are pretty high quality. They got the stitching and everything. It was one of those days where Sox fans showed up hours and hours before the gates opened. I've been going to Chicago baseball games my entire life on both sides of town. I have never seen a crowd like this before a game this far in advance, with lines snaking through the parking lots, people dying to get in the ballpark to be there for the ceremony. And all sorts of luminaries there, guys that Ozzie played with, guys he managed, guys in the front office, men and women, and he was absolutely choked up when he was thanking people like the elevator guy and the people in the switchboards, people that he saw day in and day out in the offices at 35th and Shields. That's when Ozzie was getting choked up. It was a special day for the White Sox organization as they honored one of their legends, and that's what I'm talking about tonight. Being a legend and becoming a legend. Now, Ozzie, a classic. He was a player, a manager, and he's now a broadcaster for the pre- and post-game show, and he does radio appearances on The Score. He is a triple threat, and the White Sox recognize that and recognize what he means to Sox fans and to the organization. Again, Ozzie's a classic. Love him or hate him, he is polarizing. And so is Pete Crow Armstrong, and we're going to get to PCA in just a second. But tonight, I am taking a classic and turning it into something new, something contemporary. I'm going to start with Chicken Cordon Bleu, but I'm going to make a Chicken Cordon Bleu crunchy roll. So we're going to put a little spin on it and come up with something that's a little more modern, a little more contemporary, while still paying homage to the original. See where I'm going with this? All right, first thing I'm gonna do, I am gonna go ahead and get my skillet heating up here. I'm gonna get some pretty high heat going, and I'm gonna go ahead and take my good old pale grapeseed oil. You can use vegetable oil if you want, but I'm gonna go ahead and take some grapeseed oil, and you kinda want about a ½ an inch of oil covering your pan. So we're doing this in a shallow fry instead of my good old Fry Daddy that I love to use. But this is still going to help us get our rolls nice and brown and crisp. So that's what we're going with. What I've mixed up in advance, super easy to tackle. Here is my filling. And in here I have 1½ cups of shredded chicken, rotisserie chicken from the grocery store. Stores actually sell it pre-shredded for you. So that's what I went with. If you want to make your own chicken, you want to cook it on your stovetop and shred it yourself, absolutely be my guest. So in addition to our 1½ cups of chicken, I have 1½ cups of cheese shreds. I'm using a Gouda Swiss blend. It's going to melt beautifully. I also have some agents to make this a little bit creamier. I'm using 2 ounces or 4 tablespoons of softened cream cheese. I also have 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard in here. And then I got some ham cubes as well, so you can kind of see all these little pieces in here. I have a small dice on my ham cubes. And again, it's just lunch meat, but I got a thicker one. You can use a Black Forest ham, whatever you like, but something that's a little bit thicker, so it's not just the flat pieces of ham in the lunch meat section. I've got a ½ cup of the ham cubes. So we've got our ham, our cheese, our chicken, our cream cheese, our Dijon mustard, and you can throw a little pinch of salt in there if you would like. But that's all it's going to take to put all this together. And then with that, I am going to add my egg roll wrappers, which you want to keep damp. I've got a wet paper towel on top of them. If they dry out on you, they're going to crack. So you want to make sure you keep them damp. I'm putting it in a diamond like this. And I'm going to take my spoon and scoop out, you can use your fingers, whatever you want to do, scoop out just a good old chunk of this. You don't want it to be overfilled because you want that cheese to have some room to melt. So if I had to guesstimate, it's probably about 1/3 of a cup, maybe 2 tablespoons-ish. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this corner closest to me, fold it over your filling. You're gonna take your two sides and bring them in. And then you are going to roll this to the opposite corner. But before you get there, you're gonna use a little bit of paste. My paste is 1 tablespoon of flour and 1.5 tablespoons of water. So you can see it's absolutely kind of gluey. And we're just gonna put a little bit there to seal it so this stays shut when we put it in the oil. Egg roll wrappers, if you have never looked for them, are usually in the produce section. And if you can't find egg roll wrappers, you can use wonton wrappers. I will say though, the wonton wrappers are smaller, so you're gonna be more like appetizers than entree size. All right, seam side down, we're going in our pan. The oil is hot, so we're gonna set it in there gently. And I'm gonna just roll another 1 or 2. You don't wanna crowd them in there. You can probably do about 4 at a time. Everything on the inside, your chicken, your ham, this is all already cooked. So you don't have to worry about getting it to a certain internal temperature. You're just making sure everything's warm and melty and gooey. It's super easy to assemble all your components in advance. And then if you're serving it for company or guests, or if you're bringing it somewhere, you can just have it ready to go and fry it off at the last second. And again, your tight roll is gonna be key. So I'm setting these in here really gently, just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a slotted spoon, and we're gonna use that to go ahead and take these little puppies and flip them over. I can see my first one is already really brown. Wow, that's looking beautiful. And it's gonna have some nice crunch to it. I take my heat down just a smidge so it doesn't brown up quite that much that fast. But you can see here, as I kind of try and pull it up to the edge, that I've got really good color on there on the first side. And that was probably less than 2 minutes on that first side. The second one is ready to flip, so I'm gonna get him moving over as well. Always be careful with hot oil. Oh yeah, that's looking perfect. They look like little envelopes. It's so cute. This little baby is done. Our first one can come on out. And I'm gonna go ahead and just scoop them on up and put them right back on my silpat here. You can put it on a paper towel to let some of that, that grease or that oil seep off. But with the grapeseed oil, it's not a really heavy oil, so you don't really have to worry about it being too greasy. So I'm gonna set those there for just a second, move our paste. What else I did is I mixed up a dipping sauce for this. And this, I could just stand here and eat this all day. It is 1/3 of a cup of mayonnaise, to which I added 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I added about a teaspoon or so of fresh citrus. You can use lemon juice, you can use lime juice. Either way, it's flippin' delicious. So I mixed those components together, and I also added 1 tablespoon of honey. So it's got that sweetness, it's got that citrus, that tart. It's absolutely the right combination for your dipping. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about PCA, who has been off to a historic start this year. His last 50 games, he's putting up numbers that the Cubs have never seen before. With home runs, with RBIs, with stolen bases. He is putting up elite numbers. And like I said, Ozzie, Gann, PCA, they're both very polarizing. You love them or you hate them, but there's usually no in between. In the time he's been putting up these numbers, he has jumped past Shohei Ohtani, and he is currently considered the favorite for the NL MVP. Now, if Shohei were pitching, PCA might have a tougher case. But with Ohtani being shut down from pitching because of his knee injury, the door opened for PCA to start making his move. His WAR, or wins above replacement, is past Ohtani's at this point. PCA, last I looked, was at a 7.8, Ohtani is 7.4. And if Ohtani's not going to be pitching, he loses one of the things that makes him valuable. Plus, as a DH, he doesn't have the chance to show off his defense the way PCA does. So people are noticing. People are talking about him as a potential MVP candidate, and if the season ended today, he'd get my vote, for sure. Am I saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer or have his jersey retired or anything like that? No, I'm not getting far ahead of myself. But I think with the numbers he's putting up, I mean, even his tear in June reminded me a little bit of Sammy Sosa's tear. Not quite. I mean, Sammy hit the 20 homer mark for June when he was playing. PCA 11 home runs, but also put up 20 RBIs in June. And again, that moved him into that stratosphere where people are talking about him potentially a little more than they are Ohtani, and well deserved. All right, I've got these babies continuing to fry up here, and they are looking and smelling beautiful. We're gonna take a look at the ones I finished already. We're gonna cut into them so we can get a good look at all those ingredients. And oh my goodness, I can see that gooey cheese already. So you can see that cheese pull right there. We've got all our beautiful components, and it's oozing just deliciousness, and it's steaming, and it's gonna be so good with this dipping sauce. Like I said, I could just stand here and eat this with a spoon. And you'll find other uses for this too, for other appetizers you might be serving, things like that. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into these, but I'm gonna continue to watch those PCA numbers for this season. And like I said, I think right now he's your NL MVP. Ozzie, he had some pretty impressive stats. He was a Rookie of the Year, he was an All-Star, he was a Gold Glover, and he is one of those guys for White Sox fans that represents everything you love about the organization. For Cubs fans, I know they're feeling the same way about PCA. So I could be trading this jersey for this jersey eventually. Not yet, PCA. You gotta earn it. But you're getting there. That's all I've got for tonight, but thank you so much for joining me here in my kitchen. I'll see you next time.